She holds a fundraiser. I mean, this is crazy. She holds a fundraiser for a candidate that she likes, and at the same time, she's criminally prosecuting his opponent. Thankfully, the judge said, no, you can't do that, and that case was thrown out, and he told her straight up that you should make better choices. Obviously, Fani Willis and associates have made some serious choices. Fani, I got to ask you, how stupid do you have to be to target and go after the former president of the United States and do the stupid things that you did? You can't simply give your lover up to $1 million and then de facto by proxy he is enriching yourself. Folks, I'm going to tell you straight up, it's my humble opinion, I believe it's going to be proven. Fani Willis and associates basically have a scheme going on where they take money from taxpayers. If these allegations are true, she's taking money from taxpayers, giving it to her boyfriend by hiring him and giving him a job that he's clearly not qualified to do. She gives him this money, and then de facto he's enriching her by giving the money back to her. Folks, that's illegal. That's corruption. At a minimum, it's called honest service fraud. All right, my friends, get ready because it's showtime. J.R. Dukes at your service once again. I appreciate all my free-minded friends joining me. It's always a pleasure to have an opportunity to have a discussion with you. And, of course, we have been going over this Fani Willis case in depth because I believe this is a huge story, as Donald Trump would say, and it is only going to get bigger. So if you're not aware, there's this RICO action against Donald Trump and about 20 some other individuals where the Fulton County District Attorney, her name is Fani Willis, has went after Donald Trump and associates with one of the heaviest tools that a prosecutor can bring against a defendant. It's called a RICO action. It's designed only for gangsters. That's how they get these laws passed, is they tell folks, hey, listen, we will only use these tools in the case of an extreme situation, an extreme emergency. We're going to go after Al Capone, these type of individuals. And of course, like all human beings, these people are flawed sinners, not to mention Fani Willis, who, in my opinion, is in a category all by herself. And they use these tools for purposes that they're not intended. And unfortunately, the Biden administration, along with the people that they have been in cahoots with, have succeeded in weaponizing the Department of Justice and other levels of Department of Justice, if you will, like the prosecutor's office there in Fulton County, against political rivals like Donald Trump and his associates. Folks, this is a serious matter because the statute there in Georgia pertaining to RICO requires 20 years of prison, and that is mandatory. There is no discretion by the judge. When you have a state charge, you cannot even pardon yourself should Donald Trump win the election coming up here in 2024, succeed as being the president, and he could normally, go ahead and pardon himself, but not on state charges. The president, of course, is a federal position. You cannot pardon yourself with a state crime when you are the federal law enforcement officer, i.e. the president. So the bottom line is this is serious. This is something that is no joke, and what has happened should not have been going on. Fortunately for Donald Trump, I think true justice is well on its way. It appears that Fani Willis, along with her lover / prosecutor Nathan Wade, is on a fast way down. Like many other individuals before Fani Willis that has came up against Donald Trump. Do you remember, what was that guy's name? Michael Aberrati, whatever this dude's name was. Well, he was on CNN like every single day. Hey, I'm in Donald Trump's head. I'm causing him problems. He can't sleep at night because of me. I'm going to take this guy down. And of course, right now, he's serving many years, if not life, in prison for a whole list of crimes. Remember, he was accused and convicted of taking money from his former client, Stormy Daniels, and I believe he has been convicted on a whole list of other charges. So goodbye to this Abernathy guy. I'm sure I'm butchering his name, but whatever. This is another individual in a long line of people that said, hey, I'm holier than anyone else, and I'm going to go ahead and take down Donald Trump, and it is not successful. And of course, Fani Willis, in this particular case, apparently, if the allegations are true, I want to state that for the record, she has probably been doing this for quite some time. You know, she has this kickback scheme. She's got this payment scheme going on where basically she puts people in positions to where the county can pay them a bunch of money. And guess what? They turn around, and if they're not giving her money, her boyfriend, this Nathan Wade, is taking her to Napa Valley, taking her on cruises. Whatever's going on, we're going to find out about it. And see, the problem here is when you have a corrupt prosecutor, a corrupt DA, you have a corrupt case. The case cannot go forward. Prosecutors, DAs, are supposed to be even beyond the appearance of something that is improper or something that's illegal. And as I showed in my last video, Fani Willis has done this many times before. At least one time, the judge hammered her because she was prosecuting criminally the opponent of a candidate she supported. Can you imagine that? She holds a fundraiser. I mean, this is crazy. She holds a fundraiser for a candidate that she likes, and at the same time, she's criminally prosecuting his opponent. Thankfully, the judge said, no, you can't do that, and that case was thrown out, and he told her straight up that you should make better choices. Obviously, Fani Willis and associates have made some serious choices. Fani, I got to ask you, how stupid do you have to be to target and go after the former president of the United States and do the stupid things that you did? You can't simply give your lover up to $1 million, depending on what report you believe, and then de facto, by proxy, he is enriching yourself. Folks, I'm going to tell you straight up, it's my humble opinion. I believe it's going to be proven. Fani Willis and associates basically have a scheme going on where they take money from taxpayers, and by the way, I believe this money is going to end up being federal money because it comes from the COVID relief fund, if you can believe that. That's a whole other story to get into, which could make this a federal crime on top of everything else. But the bottom line is, if these allegations are true, she's taken money from taxpayers, giving it to her boyfriend by hiring him and giving him a job that he's clearly not qualified to do. She gives him this money, and then de facto, he's enriching her by giving the money back to her. Folks, that's illegal. That's corruption. At a minimum, it's called honest service fraud. So you need to make your own choice. You need to listen to all these facts as they come out. I can promise you I'm going to be all over this like white on rice, as I used to say. It is bad, and I don't care what these so-called talking heads have to say about this case. This case is dead. This case is going to suffer maybe a slow death, but it's over. And the reason it's over is because at a minimum, Fani Willis and this Nathan Wade is going to be disqualified. It just has to happen like that. There's no other way for this case to go forward. Also, when Fani Willis is disqualified, her entire room of attorneys, the entire Fulton County District Attorney's Office is disqualified. And I can assure you, nobody wants to pick up a case like this. Fani Willis herself said initially one of the reasons she hired Nathan Wade is because none of the other attorneys or the other attorney firms that she contacted wanted anything to do with the case. And of course they did not want nothing to do with the case because the case is baseless. The case is lawfare. The case is de facto election interference. It's wrong. It should be something that she is seriously punished for. So if you disqualify her, you disqualify everybody associated with her, I can almost guarantee you they are going to have a difficult time finding anyone that wants this case. I mean, who wants to step on this landmine? This is going south quickly. There's already a February 2nd date that Fani Willis and company have to show up and give the court written explanations of what's going on. They have to provide written explanations as to these allegations that are being made. And here's the funny thing. The person that ends up bringing down Fani Willis, if this plays out like I say it's going to play out, is a guy named Michael Roman. Michael Roman was basically just an associate, a worker, whatever, for Donald Trump. She brought this case to the grand jury and said, I want you to indict this Michael Roman. Well, guess what? The grand jury said, no, we're not going to indict him. And when you have a grand jury that will not indict someone, that speaks volumes, because generally a prosecutor can get an indictment against anyone they want. You ever heard the expression, a grand jury will indict a ham sandwich? It's true. It's very rare that you see a grand jury not bring back an indictment if the DA or the prosecutor truly wants the grand jury to indict an individual. That's just the reality in the American justice system. So you have this indictment, or I should say a non-indictment against Michael Roman. So does Fani Willis stop and say, hey, forget it? No. She goes ahead, starts up the Mack truck and runs him over anyways, and he's brought up on these charges, for these RICO charges. Well, fortunately for him, his attorney, this Ashleigh Merchant, which I'm going to make a video about her too, she is fantastic. She went ahead, did a little bit of digging, and found out that Nathan Wade filed for divorce the day after he was hired to take on this case. Imagine that. So she did some digging into the court papers. They finally have been ordered released by the court, and all this now is coming out to light. So because Fani Willis went after this Michael Roman that was never indicted by the grand jury, this is going to be the guy that has apparently leading, I should say, up to her undoing, if you know what I'm saying. So it serves her right, and I hope this is the way that all this plays out, because this is wrong. The irony here is so rich. They are acting like they're so upset at Donald Trump because Donald Trump allegedly was trying to interfere with the election in the state of Georgia. The richness about this is that that's exactly what Fani Willis and her associates are doing. They are trying to deprive you and me of having the right to vote for Donald Trump as the next president of the United States. They're trying to criminally put him in jail for actions he did while he was the president of the United States. That should not even be allowed. Another situation that's going to have to be resolved by the U.S. Supreme Court. So it is just truly a mess, and it's only becoming messier. All of this corruption is going to be brought out in the daylight as it should, and it's going to be exposed for what it is, which is a heaping pile of you know what. So her boyfriend, Nathan Wade, who she hired to essentially be the lead prosecutor on this Trump RICO case, is divorcing his soon-to-be ex-wife, and her name is Jocelyn Wade. She's a rather beautiful woman from the pictures I have found online, and she is claiming in these divorce papers that Nathan Wade has left her destitute, that Nathan Wade is hiding assets, that Nathan Wade has failed to provide for her. And remember, they've been married approximately 26 plus years. Imagine that, 26 plus years, and she's claiming that this prosecutor, who's supposed to be very ethical, very gentlemanlike, this Nathan Wade is supposed to be an outstanding citizen. Yet, if the allegations are true, he's not even supporting his wife. What an outrage. Miss Wade is also claiming in the divorce filings that her husband Nathan Wade is hiding money he's been earning. Remember, depending on what report you believe, Nathan Wade has received via Fani Willis, who approves the pay, between $600,000 to $1 million. And Jocelyn Wade is saying, hey, where's the money? She's accusing Fani Willis and her soon-to-be ex-husband, Nathan Wade, of essentially spending her money while they're traveling around the Napa Valley, enjoying wine, or they're out on cruises, or whatever they're doing. Obviously, this is going to come to light. It's only a matter of time. But if these allegations are true, these people are corrupt. These people are wrongdoers. And listen, the other thing to point out is, again, if they're sleeping together, they're guilty of adultery. Now, I know that may sound a little old-fashioned, but the reality is, in the state of Georgia, it is a misdemeanor to sleep with a married person. It's just that simple. So these people that are supposed to be ethical, moral, outstanding citizens, I don't think that's the case. Fani Willis, Nathan Wade, it doesn't look good for you folks. It looks really bad, and it's only getting worse. You got to show up in court or at least file the documents on February 2nd. And I believe the hearing is approximately February 14th or 15th. They're going to have to, in open court, explain to the judge exactly what they are doing, if the allegations are true or not. And remember, they have to do it on television because that's the way it is in Georgia. It's open to the public. It's open to the television stations, if you will. That should be the way it is across the United States. But thankfully in Georgia, that's the way it is. And this stuff is all going to have a nice big sunshine right on top of it. Specifically, it's going to be broadcast all over the world because obviously this is an international story. It's really funny how people that live in so-called glass houses go ahead and throw stones at other people. Because Fani Willis wanted to make a name for herself, get herself in the history books, be the one that brings down Donald Trump. Well, like many before you, Miss Fani Willis, like many people before you, you're going to get clobbered. That's definitely where this is headed. This case is as good as dead, in my humble opinion. Stay tuned, and we will see. Folks, I enjoy you being with me. If you're still with me, might as well go ahead, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. Be sure to share this video with anybody that you know is indoctrinated. Let me help you free their mind, because that's what I like to do. Folks, until next time, keep that mind free. Never give up. I am J.R. Dukes.